Unit 2, exam review, question number 24. Which of the following is the correct graph of f of x equals 2x squared plus 8x minus 2? So there's a couple of things that some students are getting concerned about is which is linear, which is quadratic, and which is exponential. A linear, as a reminder, the x will only be raised to the first power. Quadratic is x being raised to the second power, or squared. And the last one, exponential, this is when x is in the exponent. Something is being raised to the x. So x is in exponent. Okay, so here I can see that I have x being raised to the second power. I also have an x to the first power, but I need to look at the highest power I have, and that's right here. Okay, so I can see this one. This graph right here is actually an exponential. I'm raising up. So this one doesn't match. The next one, this is a parabola. That's wonderful. Let's see if there's any others that I can pick from. This is linear, and this is linear, so I don't need to worry about those. Here's another parabola. So I need to look between this parabola and this one. And there's a couple of things I can do. I can find the y-intercept. I can find the vertex. Different options. So let's do a couple of them. You could even just put in a random point and see if you can find it. Lots of different options, and I think I'll just go through a couple so that we're okay with that. The first one I really like to do is find the y-intercept because it's so fast. The y-intercept, so here's the y-axis. One way to remember it's the y-axis, I had some students say, think of it as being the tall axis like y, and y is tall. So that's one way to remember. And x, you go across the bottom, so it's a cross like x. So that's just one way to kind of keep them straight. Okay, so I'm going to take this formula or function 2 and I'm going to put in 0 for every single x because then that tells me where it'll cross the y-axis, because if this is the x-axis and I want to find where x is 0, it'll tell me where it crosses this point here. So plugging in 0 is actually really fast because it eliminates everything except for that end value, because 0 times whatever is 0. So I'm writing it out just to be proper, but all of this will cancel out because it's being multiplied by 0. So you can go the long route, or you can just look at the very end and it'll tell you that it's crossing at -2. Here I can see that it's crossing higher, so it's above the x-axis, and that's a positive number. This one down here shows me that it's below the x-axis. That's going to be a negative number. So this one tells me that this is my answer. But I told you I would go ahead and do the vertex too, just in case some of you want to see it. To find the x value of the vertex, that equals -2 over, or oh, sorry, negative b over 2a. Sorry, didn't mean to confuse you. So I need to go find in alphabetical order. This is x squared is the first one, so this is a. The term with just x is the b, and the term with no x is c. So this is b. I need -8, so it's x equals -8 divided by, and I'm going to put this in parentheses because the 2a is all on the bottom, 2 times 2. So 2a, 2 times a, which is also 2, which gives me x equals, to simplify that out, 2 times 2 is 4, -8 divided by 4 is -2. Okay, now if I wanted to find the y variable, or the y coordinate for the vertex, I would then put -2 into the function, and it goes 2 times -2, and you'll remember when I said substituting that in, make sure that you put parentheses around every x value, because in this case that negative gets squared, which becomes positive, and if I don't do that, you might accidentally only square the 2 and not the negative. Now I need to add 8 times the negative 2, again putting in parentheses, and then subtract 2 at the end. So over here, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or PEMDAS using the order of operations. I must square this first. Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. So I end up with 2 times 4 plus 8 times negative 2. And I'm just going to write this all out. I know some of you are skipping some of this in your head. That's fine. Okay, so now I need to multiply and divide from left to right. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 2 times negative 2 is negative 16, and minus 2. So 8 plus negative 16 gives me negative 8, minus 2 makes negative 10. So the vertex is the coordinate point negative 2 comma negative 10. Okay, and we also know that it's going to cross the y-intercept, sorry, that's all crossed out, is at negative 2. Okay, so this one right here, we have a vertex. It's in the positive direction, and it looks like it's about 1.5 maybe, 1.5 and 5, 10, 15, 25, so 3, probably 1.5 and 3. So that doesn't look right. Let's come down here. I can see first off that it's down here in the negative part. That's wonderful. And it says negative 2. There's negative 2. And this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 5, 10. There we go. It's right on at negative 2, negative 10. So that's another way to confirm that this is indeed the graph that we want.